Good morning. I thought you would all like an update on where we are with the storm. And behind me, you know Doug Hoyle, you know our highway patrol leaders, and we are really delighted to be joined one more time by Mike Bolch, who is from FEMA. He's been on the ground since Sunday, which is a terrific accomplishment in itself. Rosa Gill is here, who represents many of the homes and the families that have had real hardships. I have one sad announcement to make this morning. We have confirmed another death in Perdue County, bringing that number up to 14. So at this point in time, we have in North Carolina 24 fatalities. We have 133 injuries, probably more. That 133 are bad injuries. We know that we have about 440 homes that are totally destroyed at this point in time. That number will very likely go up as we continue the assessment. We have 6,189 houses that have suffered some fairly significant level of damage, and we know those numbers are soft, so they'll continue to climb. We've been told that there are more than 5,000 homes in Wake County, so I expect that number by tomorrow or Friday, as we get these teams on the ground to do more assessments, will really get larger. We know that there are 21 businesses that have been totally destroyed. And again, the numbers that I'm giving you today are update numbers, they're soft numbers, and 92 more businesses have been badly damaged. We have thousands of employees in our state who are out of work this week, and several thousand will be out of work long term. I've had the opportunity to speak to some of the leadership and employees at companies that are totally destroyed now, or are so severely destroyed it'll be a long-term displacement. Lowe's, Static Control, and Food Line come to mind. I've actually talked with the Lowe's people and the Food Line people and the Static Control people. I'm impressed, and the people in North Carolina need to know this. At Lowe's, Bob Niblock and the board from Charlotte, you know, that's our company, that's a North Carolina company. Food Line is a North Carolina company. They are actually working on finding alternative places to put their workers. I know for sure that Lowe's is actually providing transportation because of the high cost of gas and the fact that so many people have lost their cars, their trucks, their automobiles. And so they're doing that, and those businesses are really to be commended for trying to figure out how to keep these workers with jobs and money coming in to support the family. I want to reiterate, as you all do the coverage, we were hit really hard on Saturday, but North Carolina's reaction team is again the talk of the nation. We have, and I've bragged on it before because it's just really important for folks to understand, Doug and his team are remarkable. Every community across North Carolina has an emergency startup team on the ground that practices day in and day out. And so North Carolina can, in a matter of hours, put in place not just recovery and assessment, but actual services in every community in North Carolina. Last night, you know that we received word from the federal government, the White House, about the declaration of emergency assistance. This is really fast, y'all. I've done these with hurricanes for years, and it often takes time. FEMA sent in Mike on the ground on Sunday, and by yesterday we had enough data in hand to do a preliminary request for the declaration of assistance. Yesterday afternoon I personally talked to Janet Napolitano, who is the Secretary of Homeland Security where FEMA falls. I personally talked to the White House and tried once more to put in real words how bad this situation is in North Carolina. And about 5:30 last night, I continued to plead to make sure that we could get resources and money on the ground as quickly as possible. And we got the call about 6:45 that they had granted our request for an expedited declaration. Let me explain that to some of y'all. This was my choice and this team's choice. There are so many communities that we know are absolutely badly hurt. And it made no sense to me to wait until we did a full statewide assessment and one huge application. It was my decision to do this expedited request to get money flowing in and resources flowing in this morning for these counties. So initially, Bertie, Bladen, Cumberland, Halifax, Harnett, Johnson, Lee, Onslow, Wake, and Wilson will have teams on the ground working with Mike and with Doug. I intend, or I hope we intend, to set up some regional centers so that people can go there. Obviously, they can call the number that's already known throughout the state, but as you all know, as you go to get this kind of recovery money for individuals, and that's our priority again, to start with real people, there has to be some kind of documentation. So we feel really good about that. For all of you across North Carolina who are in counties or towns that aren't on this list, rest very assured that you will be added to this list. It is an easy thing to do. The White House knows that as we get further data, Homeland Security and FEMA know that as we get further data, we will expedite another request and add county and town as often as we can, as quickly as we can, because it's my goal by early next week to have sources and resources across every area that was hit. There are 8 other counties that are already part of our initial disaster request assessment. The folks in Washington who make the decisions are getting data on those 8 counties as we speak. And so this is just a work in progress, and there will be money and services and rebuilding opportunities for individuals and businesses. Let me remind the people of North Carolina, we're flying our flags at half-mast, the state and the federal flag. There's a purpose behind that. Some of us were untouched across North Carolina, and I am really asking folks to think about that as they sit around their kitchen table tonight. I know it's a hard time for so many people who are unemployed. You all folks who we know, our neighbors, our friends, have lost everything. I can't tell you how hard it was for us on Sunday and Monday, and I'm going back out tomorrow to do some more counties visits. I can't tell you how hard it was to hear folks who have lost every single thing. And Bertie County, if you can remember that it's one of the 4 poorest counties in America, you think of the folks there who have lost everything, and they were already hard pressed to feed their families and clothe their children. So it's up to us to pitch in. Last night I spent a couple of hours in my closet and my pantry, and I'm urging everybody else to do that. It's not just money. It's stuff you have that you don't wear. It's the stuff that your kids have that they don't use or that they don't play with. I'm talking about from toothpaste and deodorant to clothes to wear to school, to toys to play with, to food to eat. We can all give a little something, and we should. Our neighbors and our friends need us. So as I talk to the press and as I talk to individuals, I'm inspired once again by North Carolina. It's typical of whom we are as a people, and that's what makes us so special. It's our people. On Saturday, we were devastated. Home and communities across the state were hit hard. Lives were torn up. On Sunday morning, as we all began to wake up and see the damage, you saw instances of people out beginning to rebuild. And by Monday morning, I was able to proclaim on nationwide TV that regardless of what had happened, North Carolina was open once again for business. That's the resilience of our people. Now I want to take a minute, if you'll allow me, and I hope you'll cover this, to say a special thanks to our own state employees and to companies and to individuals across North Carolina. Here is what the state has done. Let me start there. And I'm really just extremely grateful for Doug and his team and for the leadership that state employees all over North Carolina have evidenced, and including the Highway Patrol. We thank you for that. The EOC and emergency management were in full swing as soon as we realized early afternoon that we were likely to be hit. Briefings have been given to all the congressional delegations and the state General Assembly members. They have been ongoing since Sunday. Briefings for every town, county, and city official has occurred in North Carolina. We are also pleased to be able to brag on what's going on in the counties. We have prisoners crews across the state in place. We have prepared teams to assist businesses. Local governments will receive financial help, and as these assessments are done, 75 counties will have help with debris. Let me get to my list of state employees. We have Forest Services. These are the folks that I've seen. There's lots of people. We have Forest Services in every area that's hit, actually and actively removing debris and helping stand things up. We've got DOT crews across the state. All the homeowner has to do is bring it to the curb. And if it's a state road, DOT in almost every county is already in place trying to help get up the debris. We have contracts in progress being made with companies to haul away the refuse and the debris. And for those of you who haven't been there, I can't tell you what it looks like in North Carolina. There are no words to talk about the trash and the metal and the pieces of insulation and wood from houses that are just spread. It's the first time we face this with our agricultural crops. With hurricanes, we always get it as the season is ending and we have crop damage. This is the first time that North Carolina's had the experience of having to figure out how to rehabilitate fields that have just been plowed and planted. And so I know that Secretary Troxler is working on that, the Commissioner of Agriculture. I have asked for a separate declaration of emergency from Tom Vilsack and the Federal Department of Agriculture, because those farmers, some of them, many of them, have no crop insurance. And so we've got to find a way to replant those seeds. State employees are out there doing that. We have probation and parole officers who are voluntarily helping assist law enforcement as we put our prisoners out on the road. These are minimum security prisoners, you all, but they're already in place, and 4 counties will have 6 more crews out today. They are out there trying to help clean up. We've stood up the governor's hotline, 1-888-835-9966. If you have an issue that you haven't had any kind of response to because you're not involved in some of these immediate recovery areas, call the number and we will get you help. I've made sure that state employees can use the state's volunteer time. All of our state employees get to do that, and we're urging state employees to use their volunteer time to help in these storm-ravaged communities. Again, we are really working together as a team, from the state level with Doug and his team to the county and the town level, and we are so honored that FEMA is here. We're blessed with that. Mike has been in North Carolina time after time working with us on emergencies, and I believe that fact that he knows North Carolina is critically important. I made that comment to the Secretary of Homeland Security yesterday, that I think the best thing that they are doing is finding someone who understands the state and understands the leadership of emergency and then comes in and works with us. Together, we're going to get through this. This week is hard for people. We are in the process of trying to figure out a way to waive classroom instruction time for the counties that have had schools that are damaged. You saw what we were doing with other things yesterday in the General Assembly. I'm trying to be sure that anybody and any organization that has a significant issue, that we can get it fixed and move forward as quickly as possible with solutions for the people of North Carolina. We are less than a week out, and already we're making magnificent progress in North Carolina. This will be hard. I know that, and again, I ask folks to volunteer, call the Red Cross or the Salvation Army or the United Way or any organization in your community and get out there. But don't get out without a plan. We don't need people all over the state just wandering around. So go through an organized effort to help people restart their lives.